Have you heard that it's really important to have irregular wake up time when we have trouble sleeping? If so, this class is for you. We're going to look at in which scenario this is actually true. It can be really helpful, and in which scenario the same thing, the same idea can be really tricky. Again, welcome here, and yeah, this is a common question. That the reason I chose to do today's Insomnia Insight on this topic is because it showed up in the comment section. Not long ago, somebody asked like, "Hey, Daniel, like how important is a regular wake up time?" And I was kind of surprised that we didn't have an episode on this. Maybe we do. I just couldn't find it, but I don't think so. So again, we're going to talk about the regular wake up time here. And yeah, not much more to say about this. It's again a common question I get is how important is it to get up at the same time every morning? So we're going to look at two things here: when it doesn't help and when it helps. So starting with the scenario when approaching things with like, okay, I'm going to have a regular wake up time when this does not help or is not helpful. Is the following. So I just wrote down two kind of examples, if you will. If somebody thinks of it this way: I'm going to regularize my circadian rhythm so my sleep becomes predictable. In this scenario, I think this regular wake up time is probably not going to be so helpful. It's going to be, perhaps the opposite, because in this scenario, somebody is trying to use a regular wake up time as a means of having control over sleep. And we know that sleep is a passive, effortless process. It happens by itself when we're not trying to control it. So this is one example of when irregular wake up time is not helpful. And as you can see, it's actually not about regular wake up time in itself. It's about the intent behind it. But here's another example. I'm going to start to build sleep drive the same time every day. So sleep happens faster. So I sleep faster and through the night. Same thing again. Somebody's trying to use a regular wake up time as a means of exerting control over their sleep. Now, somebody may say, but isn't it true though that if we wake up early and regularly, we start building up sleep drive at the same time? I think there's truth there. Sleep drive is a real thing, just like hunger. If somebody says like, oh, I'm gonna fast from very early in the day, then I'm going to be really hungry in the evening. Well, it's true that the longer we go without eating, the more the body eventually wants to eat, right? And the same is true for sleep. The longer we stay awake, the more the body will want to sleep. But that sleep drive is not at all as impactful as hyper arousal, as like anxiety around sleep, or worries around sleep, because that hyper aroused state, that's the break in our sleep system. And if we go like, oh, I'm going to start, I'm going to get up really early every time the same day, so I build that strong sleep drive, that keeps us in this mindset of like trying to control sleep, which keeps us in the mindset of like worrying about sleep and exerting effort, and that keeps that hyper arousal alive, that keeps us from sleeping well, right? So again, the idea that we're going to just get up early at the same time every day to build sleep drive so that we sleep, again, is tricky for the same reason as trying to control our circadian rhythm and indirectly our sleep. So another way of saying this is that in these two scenarios, irregular rise time has become a way of chasing sleep. And by chasing sleep, I use this expression for when we are like, we use kind of any means we can to like get sleep, and particularly I use it in the context of like bedtimes, So very common ways of chasing sleep are, to spend more time in bed, either going to bed really early, to be like, okay, I'm going to go to bed really early so that maximizes my chances of sleep. That's one common way of chasing sleep. Another way is, extending time in bed on the morning side. And that's when somebody goes like, I hardly slept last night, I gotta get some sleep, I'm going to stay in bed and try to squeeze out a little sleep from whatever remains of this night or this morning. That is chasing sleep. And chasing sleep, for the same reason we talked about the two examples above here, is tricky, because again, sleep is an effortless process, and the more we're chasing sleep, trying to get it, the more elusive it becomes. And I put this here because it segues nicely into our second section, which is when irregular rise time does help, when it helps. If somebody thinks something like this: I'm starting my day at this time, even if I had a choppy night, this can be really helpful. Not because it regularizes circadian rhythm, not because of like building sleep drive, but when we're no longer chasing sleep, that leads to sleep coming to you instead. Where we're no longer trying to get it, then our efforts decrease and sleep starts happening by itself. So this is when, that regular rise time can actually be helpful, when it leads us away from chasing sleep. So that's kind of like, the main kind of teaching point really here is this one. But when I share this, there's often a kind of a common follow-up question, and it's something like this. But hey, when it's the weekend, or maybe I've been out too late or something like that, can't I just sleep in? Can I like never sleep in? And the answer is, of course you can. There's nothing different between you and any other human out there, except that likelihood, if you're listening to this, you've had some trouble sleeping, but you'll arrive at a place, thanks to your willingness to learn and do some inner work, to a place where you know sleep just happens by itself. You're not thinking about it anymore, and then you'll sleep in just like everybody else does. Until that point, it can help to kind of have a little bit of like awareness around when you're chasing sleep and we're not. But to be more practical here, I would say that this applies now as well. So if you find yourself like in the morning, it's morning time, and you kind of like, I just like to rest a little bit, or maybe sleep a little bit more, then of course you can just stay in bed, just rest or sleep or whatever happens, right? But on the other hand, if you find yourself thinking like, oh, it's morning time and I didn't sleep much, and I really want some more sleep, then there's some chasing sleep, right? Then it's probably more helpful to not stay in bed and just start your day. So I would say that when it comes to this question, like, can I sleep in? I would say just be honest with the intent, and thanks to that awareness and the education you have, you'll see things getting easier and easier for you. So I hope this class was really helpful and answered the question in a meaningful way. And if you're finding things getting easier for you, then that is wonderful. Do share it in the comment section. That is always so nice to have some hope and inspiration on the channel. And now, on the other hand, if things are tricky, if you're not really seeing, how the pieces to the puzzle fit in for you, and you're feeling maybe isolated, lonely, you don't have somebody to talk to about the things you're going through, people around you don't really understand what you're going through, then I think a great place to get some more support is on our website. Head over to thesleepcurreschool.com, check out our coaching options, and if you decide to join, we look forward very much to seeing you on the other side. That was it for today. Looking forward to having you back later this week. Bye for now.